Hey there, this is Otsukimi, and this is the Nowhere Market Update for the week of November 22nd. This is Thanksgiving week for me here in the States. I got a big holiday coming up tomorrow, and so I'll be taking off tomorrow. But I want to cover a lot because a lot has happened, and this is fitting for crypto, to be honest with you. We go through so much. When the markets are like this, we just don't get sleep, do we? But we had a big red day yesterday, and that was after we got the news about Binance, and then we pretty much got a screw you candle today. We have a green day. We are looking almost. I believe that we are coming close to engulfing this candle, and it's crazy. So we'll talk about that. There's a lot that's going on. I mean, actually, I changed my theme for this video. I had to go do some stuff earlier today, and I had to miss out on an earlier video of this. I'm kind of glad that I did because it it would have aged very poorly. So I'm going to discuss the pump as well as the dump. And so I was going to discuss the red day, what that would mean, but it seems like, hey, the people are here to say, and that's what I like about crypto is because people vote with their money, and say, hey, look at the markets that we've had today. I mean, even like Solana, a lot of alts are engulfing their daily. I mean, look at ETH. I mean, it's crazy. So this is really good. This is really good. In some cases, this is amazing, and in other cases, they're retests. So we'll look into that. I think I'll do things a little bit differently today. I'll have some preliminary discussions. This is a Nowhere market video, so I do talk about my Nowhere Discord. So I'll talk about that here in just a few seconds. But as far as the actual rundown of this, we'll talk about Binance a little bit. We'll talk about what that really means, and it doesn't mean a lot of things short term, but it will long term, primarily with TradFi and traditional finance coming into this space, and it's going to get taken over. It might take 4 to 8 years, but this will get taken over, and then I'll probably be too old to be doing this anyway, so and that's completely fine. But we'll also talk about the current day, like the up price action. What does that mean? Is this should this be faded? And the short answer is no, but I'll explain that as well. And then we'll go into Bitcoin, Ethereum. Ethereum is going to take more of a video space today because it has done very well. We'll look at that. We'll also look at Solana, and then we'll venture into some altcoins as well. There's new altcoins that I'm trying to bring into the lineup. Some of them are older, like Link, that I haven't discussed much, but I'm going to put them into the lineup. Some of them I haven't talked about in a while, like Binance. We'll talk about that as well. But some of them are new. Like Bonk, for example. Bonk has entered my purview because it's a very liquid coin, and I've for premium members in my Nowhere Discord, we have been scalping this on the 15-minute chart, and it's been pretty great. And so we'll discuss that as well. Blur has also entered my list. That is a trade that we currently have. This is the current position that we have for our Nowhere premium members, and it's going very well. It's going very well. 80 or 46% for the day so far, and and that's it's part of what I do. I try to figure these out for you guys so you don't have to. So anyway, that's the introduction. We're gonna go into more of a preliminary discussion about Nowhere and what we're doing in the Discord channel. If you guys are not involved, if you are, you could skip it maybe, but it's also an update. It's an update for Discord members, premium members, and for people that are not in Discord but maybe have thought about it. So we'll just get right started into this. All right, so very briefly, I want to talk about Nowhere, what's going on with that. First things first, we have launched our premium member subscription service, whatever you want to call it. It is a paid thing, so I'm not trying to plug anything per se. I've already had people accusing me of trying to be a grifter and things like that. I've offered free things for years. Okay, I've been here for 6 years now, and I've been trading for 8 years total. So I've had a lot of free stuff in addition to that. I'm one of the only all of my stuff is Aroon based, like it's integrated into my personal trading system. And so that's what you get too. So there is a unique value to this that you don't get anywhere. I've got a good reputation for accuracy and performance. You can check my tweets on Twitter. You can check the Discord's free, by the way. You can check the Discord. You can see all that. I have a Telegram that's 3 years old, almost 4 years old. Go ahead and check that out as well. And also go ahead and check my Twitter and look at the people that follow me. Like I have a lot of good high network people, like tier, like top tier rated people. You're free to message them. I know most people won't, but and it may not even it might be a little rude or off putting, but that just shows you the weight that I have brought. Okay, I and a little bit of personal exposure here. Like I do help, yeah, like because I got a marketing business behind the scenes, like a real one for a real business under my real name, things like that. I do help people as kind of a side note of that to help crypto based influencers, so to speak. I hate using that word, but I there are two big names that I help with things like algorithms and trading, things like that. So you have probably used my stuff before. I'm just going to tell you that right now, and I can almost guarantee it. Let's just put it that way. I won't tell who it is, but I can tell you um, they're class 8, like high ranking names. So and they're reputable people. They're not grifters. They're not scammers. They've been around this whole time. And so I would be proud to talk about them, but for NDA reasons, I do not. So going back to Discord, the Knowhere Discord, however, is something that I have started because I have a community of people that have been interested in what I offer. It's also a way for me to contact you because I get a lot of people messaging me on Twitter, on Telegram, even YouTube, Discord, things like that. So I put it all together. Discord is the best place to do that. It allows me to be organized, and then I can also provide different things with different categories. And so and I'm not kidding you. I've had people ask me, "Hey, is there anything else that you can do for me? I'm happy to pay." And so that's kind of how that started. Okay, so um, it's not one of those things. But here's the thing. I don't feel bad either because this is valuable time. Okay, and so it's worth my time is worth more than my money. Absolutely. And so my thought process is I'm already on the trades anyway. A lot of people want to have a fair value exchange. And so that's where Knowhere Premium came into place. And so that's what we have started. This week is the very first week that we're doing it. And so the first things first, I'll just talk about the pricing. The pricing is $20 a month. It's very cheap right now. That will go to $30 in January. However, if you sign up from now until the end of the year, you keep that locked in price at $20. I've already had people sign up for a full year to lock in that price. You can lock it in as much as you want. I would prefer if you don't lock in anything more than a year's worth because I don't know if this is going to be around in 5 years because a lot of things can happen in 5 years. But you're welcome to sign up for up to a year in advance, or we can work that out if you want something custom. And so that's the thing, and it's been going pretty well so far. What does that get you? I've talked about this in previous videos. I'll make a link in the description, but that gets you premium charts. That gets you a follow up. So what I do is I make a video every day on from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, and it's about 10 minutes approximately going over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and like this the main section right here. So I always go over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana always, and then I'll usually pick half of this list. So somewhere between I'll do a minimum of 3, but sometimes up to 7, even 8. And so what I do for the premium videos is not only will I expand more on those by giving positions, but I'll also cover extra videos as well. And so I kind of want to run that down just a second here. And so for yesterday, I actually did 2 videos. So when we have a big day like yesterday, I tend to do 2 videos. So I'll probably do 2 more videos tonight. And those are free videos. So I'll do one extended video over Bitcoin, Ethereum, and then I'll do another video for Solana and the rest. And that's 20 minutes of free video, by the way. Okay, most people don't do that already. And so on top of that, I'll do a premium video for all my members. And so what I'll do is I'll I'll pick out coins that I have an interest in and that have the capability to add a position if it if the conditions are good. And so yesterday I did so in addition to these coins, yesterday I did or no 2 days ago I did Link. I did a video on Chainlink, FTM, Aave, Kadena, Maker, and Gala. So that's what I did on Monday. Okay, today's Wednesday for me. So that's what I did on Monday, and I talked about how Link, basically all of them are looking good. I looked at a FTM short, so Link, this is what that looked like here, and so that's going out pretty well. I entered in after this reclaim, so roughly right here. We had the drop down. This is a 4 hour actually, so um, that served well. Or no, I'm sorry. This is the position. The other one was a smaller one. So that was one of my personal trades, I think. So this was the position here that we were looking at, and I guess it's only available on the 1 day. So we had the drop down, but it held within the stop, and then it reclaimed. So this is a good trade. This is currently what I've discussed in Knowhere, and you get a free week trial, by the way. And so you're welcome to look at that. FTM, I looked at a short position. This was the short position that we looked at. But then I also made an update yesterday saying that this was closing according to my Apex rules, which I teach in the academy. So this was a stop here, and that was a good call. So that was about 1.9 R. So 2 for 2 roughly. So with Aave, that was one thing that was on my list. This is going to get discussed again tonight, but this was the position that we looked at, and it is currently in profit and is doing very good. And then we also looked at Kadena, which is up 9% today, and so that was looking good. It was invalidated, but it's also revalidated because of the trend line break above, so that's looking pretty good. And then Maker was another one that we looked at. I actually looked at Gala, so we'll do that one first. This one did not get triggered, so this one did not enter in. This was the trade that I wanted to do. We did not get the trigger for that, so we did not take it. And so that also teaches one thing. I want to talk about Gala for a second because that teaches us to be patient about these moves, and it doesn't. When you see a move like this, just because it's up even 10% today, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good trade per se. I mean, 9% is always good, but you want to lock that in, right? And so the market's very good today, actually. So, and then the last one was Maker, if I can find it. Where is it at? Got so many here. Maker's up 7%. This is the trade that we looked at. This was the new condition, and it's working pretty good. So that is what we discussed on Monday, and then yesterday we did a follow-up. So what I do is I follow up on those coins, which a lot of them I just told you what the follow-ups were. So I did follow up on Chainlink, Phantom, Aave, Gala, Kadena, and Maker, and then new coins that I added was Matic, which I suggested that we would go up here. We had bounced off here. We're doing pretty good off that. Atom was the next one, and I cover this more in the premium charts. Also a bounce off here. It's going pretty well in profits as well. I think I don't know why the position is off. That's the right positioning, but I think it was based off of a lower time frame. And then Bonk, one thing that we have been doing in Bonk is trading the 15-minute chart, which has been doing very well. And so we just got a 5 hour trade on that earlier this morning. And then Blur was one that we looked at as well, which I just told you in the introduction. It's just going fantastic. This is going better than I want to say better than I expected, but also that's why I had the positioning locked in like this, because this is an extremely solid trade. My take profit is basically the trend line. So that's what we've talked about so far in just 2 videos. And so that alone, honestly, that alone is probably worth $20, including the free videos that I do. But that's just to give you a perspective, right? That we do everyone in the Discord gets gets 1 video every day, 5 days a week. Members get an additional 5 videos a week, and so right then and there you get 10 videos, so like 100 minutes of videos a week, and that's pretty good. It's pretty good. So In addition to other charts, I have a trading portfolio, which is it's up in profit. It wasn't last night, but now it is today. And so I worked those out for you, different trade discussions, and we're doing private videos as well. So we're doing user approved videos. So I'll give a range of topics and then we'll talk about which ones we want to cover. So this week, so Friday after Thanksgiving, we're going to cover a Solana ecosystem video, comprehensive video, talking about the Solana ecosystem, talking about the coin. Why is it? What's the deal with it? The pros and cons. How is it different than Ethereum? And then we also talk about the ecosystem. What tokens look good on there? You may see Ray on here. Ray is a token that I'm interested in. It is on the Solana ecosystem. So is Bonk, by the way. There's a reason why these coins are coming up. And so that video about Solana ecosystem is going to be very crucial. So we're going to talk about Solana tokens. We're going to talk about Solana wallets, how to trade, how to use the Radium, and things like that. So because it is a workable chain, and Solana works as an ecosystem. It already does. And so there's no reason to think that Ethereum and Solana can't be the same market cap. And if it does, you're talking a 10x on Solana right now, because it's 10x behind Ethereum. And so just keeping that in mind. So that's all part of the Knowhere Premium. If you're interested, there's a link in the description. 7-day free trial, of course. I also have my scripts for sale as well if you're interested in that. In addition to that, I got bots coming up in December, and then I got the Academy coming up in January. I got a lot of stuff coming up, and so I know it's a lot, and I know I have offended some people. I already know they have versed it to me in private chat, and that's okay. That's okay because the majority of people are interested in this. They want to learn, and honestly, $20 is not that much. Okay, I went to Starbucks the other day, and it was $7 for a cup of coffee that's only half coffee. The other half is like milk, and then sugar. Okay, and like I got a cup here right now that I make at home for less than $1. So that I outsource I get really good beans. Different story. So, but $20 is not a lot. And so if you do monthly, by the way, you still get that locked in price. Okay, you don't have to buy everything in advance. You can do $20 a month every month for the next 6 to 12 months. It's fine. As long as you sign up before the end of the year, you get that locked in price. So anyway, I spent too long on that. Apologies, but I do want to mention that because it is launch week. And so it's been a really good time so far. All right, so now we are going to go into the theme, going into Binance or Binance while also talking about other coins. And yeah, let's get started. All right, so let's get started with Bitcoin. So for the weekly time frames, I cover those in observations. You can watch those for that. They still pertain to current price action. On the daily, however, one thing that I did discuss last night in my Discord is that we did have the drop down, and this was a structure break for this pattern, right? And so that was something that we discussed, that we could see some downward price action. But so far we have recovered that, and we still have 4 hours to go left in the time. So anything could happen. This is only 4%. 4% can go away pretty quickly. That being said, I don't think it will. I think this will recover, and if it is, all things are on board for the trend to continue. I like this a lot for multiple reasons. One, we retain our market structure, and that the sky is not falling per se. But also, two, this has caused the previous drop down that we had yesterday also caused a lot of resets for Aroon. And so, for example, you can see that the Aroon is actually bearish here, not bullish. And so we have a bullish consolidation if this closes bullish, which it looks like it will. And so I want that to keep in perspective because that's really, really good because the market structure for Bitcoin on the Aroon has flipped bearish, but that also means we have a chance to reload on the bullish side. And that might not even have to, that doesn't mean it is today even. It could be a couple days from now. So I like this. It sets up a perfect example for people like me and that are bullish, but want to have a little more time to kind of reload. And that's exactly what we are getting. We had the consolidation period. We had the drop down. Now we got the reclaim. But the drop down was enough across the board to reset most of these. So if we look here on Ethereum, this did not reset. We are still looking for, this is a bearish wedge that could reset. Um, but on the 6 hour, which I like to do, it has crossed bullish, so that's very good. We'll get into that later. I don't want to go too deep into these things, but a lot of these coins, so like XRP, for example, bearish cross, bullish consolidation, looking pretty good. Same with Binance, looking pretty good overall. Chainlink just crossed bearish despite going up 8%. And so what that means is that the trend is not fully trendy yet. Okay. And so I don't want you to be scared that, all right, I was already scared yesterday, right? And now the market is up like 10 to 15% across the board in some cases, 20 to 40% across the board. Like, what's going on? I missed everything. And I'm here to say, no, you haven't, because the Aroon has not said that we are bullish yet. And so when we have a bullish day, but we don't have a bullish trend, we will start to chop a little bit first. And so that should lead to better entries. And so that should put you at peace a little bit. And so a lot of these, and we'll get into more of these. So like Bitcoin, it is within the range, but it's not like it went 40 grand. And here's the thing, like, I've been in this for a while. If you are interested in 40 grand, you should be in spot. You should always be in spot, in my opinion, and put it. I don't want to get into anybody's personal business, right? But you should have enough money set aside that you should just be okay with it losing everything or getting everything. Just have spot Bitcoin for long term. I've got spot Bitcoin for a while. I don't touch it. I might transfer it from wallet to wallet, but I don't touch it. And so, 40% isn't that, or 40,000 is not that much from here, to be honest with you. So why are you interested in a 7% move all of a sudden, when we had that all year? See what I'm saying? So like, you need to condition yourself to think like, don't all of a sudden get interested in Solana because it's $57. Okay, um, find the appropriate opportunities to buy. And so, and if you didn't buy earlier, that's okay. It's okay to think about now and to see like what type of profits you can make now. But just be strategic about that. So anyway, that's pretty much Bitcoin on the daily. On the 4 hour, this looks like so. And I kind of want to look at the 15 minute because you had that Dalai Lama thing. I tweeted about that earlier today. But on the 4 hour time frame, we had the reclaim. This is something that we've done before, but we're still within this structure right here. And so this honestly is the structure that I want to flip. This was originally the one, so it's done very well. I do think that this could turn into a long position. My only personal issue is we have not flipped bullish on the daily, and so that's something that I'm just personally waiting on. Yes, I know that sounds stupid when the market is looking this good today, but it wasn't looking this good yesterday. And so you need to keep that in mind. We are actually down 0.5% from the past 24 hours. So keep that in mind. Okay, so don't get fooled by bearish price action, but don't get fooled by bullish price action either. It is the market is starting to trend. I talked about that in observations this week, that you need to focus on trend-based moves. And so far, the trend, despite the good day today, is not fully trending bullish just yet. It has reset, and that's a good thing because we can apply bullish trend applications going forward. So that's Bitcoin. It looks good overall. I like the push up against this. I like the rejection, and not just the rejection from the pattern, but also a rejection towards the SEC news, so to speak. Like, I don't think people are really rejecting it. I do think more people respect the decision. I think everybody kind of respected that Binance was in the wrong, but I mean, let's be honest. The SEC basically just said, "Hey, give us 4 billion and we'll walk away and figure this out." Right? So it's more complicated than that. But if it was really that bad, they would have shut Binance down. And so I think Binance was too big to fail in this sense because who knows? I'm speculating here, but maybe they need Binance to succeed to have a catalyst for the Bitcoin Ethereum ETF, and maybe they shut down Binance in 5 years. I don't know. I'm just speculating. So, but we all know that they want the ETF, and I think once they get that sorted, I think they're going to try to shut down the CeFi part of crypto. And I've seen a lot of people that said this is my last cycle. I've been saying that for 6 months now. This is my last cycle. I think I've said that for almost a year now. This is probably my last cycle because either one, I'm going to make enough money to retire, and I'm going to say see ya. Two, I'm not going to make enough money to retire. I'm going to be too embarrassed to come back. Or three, traditional finance is going to be here anyway, and then I might need a certification to say some of the things I'm saying. So, I mean, I'm not saying anything illegal or nothing like that. So, but I don't know, or maybe I join a firm because I've thought of that. I've thought of that myself. So, and so we'll see how that goes. We still probably got 2 or 3 years left, but Bitcoin looks pretty good here. That's the situation. Let's go to Ethereum. All right, so let's go to Ethereum. All right, so on the daily, so we had the drop down, right, and so that actually was a bearish breaker, and then we went ahead and engulfed that completely. So that's kind of the short story on this. As far as Aroon goes, we have the bearish wedge in play, very thin one, so it's kind of slightly at this point it's irrelevant because this will probably cross bearish and then go into a bullish consolidation. So that's kind of what I said about Bitcoin. A lot of these other assets, like they will cross bearish just because we kind of have to, because the trend has been downtrending for so long, despite the bullish price action for today. That's actually, so long story short, that's a good sign overall. That will be a good sign leading into next week, most likely. So this, um, going into my personal thesis, like the drop down was pretty good. I think this is going to recover more quickly than I thought it would, and that's a good sign. I think that's good because a lot of these coins, yes, they didn't go down as much as I thought they would, but they did reset. Like 50 is a pretty good reset point for a lot of these. Ethereum is at 62. Solana is 60, XRP 49, 47, 57. So a lot of these are like within the um, high 40s to 60% range, and that's good. I think that's kind of what we needed to see. We got this reset across the board. Even on the weekly, we're hitting 75, 63, 57 in some cases. So that's probably good enough to reset. And so we'll just see how that plays out. Looking briefly on the weekly, for I mean 75 on the weekly is still pretty good. And so if you kind of zoom here, I mean that was pretty much the beginning of our run, leading up to the big high right there. So that could be something that we do. We at 74 we could be right here as well. So that's the thing. I'm not saying that we are going to run because of this, but this is still looking pretty good. I think this is looking pretty good overall. And honestly, let's not forget the fact that Binance was it was literally the biggest FUD out there, right? And they settled. I mean, settlements are a good thing in that regard. Binance is going to still be around. You're still going to be able to use their products. There's going to be a little more KYC, I'm sure. But other than that, it's not really going to affect us as traders, right? Nothing really changes. They are going after Kraken, but they've already went after them before. I think they're still going after Coinbase, but both Kraken and Coinbase are very reputable exchanges, and they are going to fight it. So we still got DeFi, we still got other chains. I still think this is going to go pretty well. So overall, the daily, we're set up 7% on the daily. We got this structure that has engulfed. If we look at this on the 4 hour, I was waiting for this trend line to break, and so this is pretty good. You probably could long this position right here, maybe target underneath. I don't know if this is really good as far as the entire pump here. If you want, you might want to make it a little more conservative and increase your targets for the daily. Let's kind of get some more real estate on the screen here. I'm gonna be upgrading my system here pretty soon too, so I should have a better screen because I'm working on a 13-inch right now. But so one thing that I see here is you could mark it out like so. Here's your marker. Um, if you want to play it conservative, I would play it underneath this bar right here. So you got about 9-10%. Your next target is going to probably be 35.66. I'm going to zoom out just a second, and look at this from a fib perspective. So from a fib perspective, your 28 is probably going to be your first initial move to the upside. And so all that being said, your so here's the top of that position here, but then your median position is going to be right here. It's about 37% jump. That's kind of what I'm looking at for that. Now, if you are interested in a lot of scripts and things like that, I do have them available. It is very helpful for these kind of things. So that's the position that I'm looking at. It's looking pretty good in my opinion. So other than that, I think Ethereum is pretty self-explanatory. We got this big wedge. I mean, this is still active. I've always said that we need to break 2140. We still have not broken that. But I think this consolidation below resistance is a good sign that we might actually break this. So I really hope so because we don't need Ethereum to break for the bull run to start, but we kind of do too. Like it would be really weird if the bull run started without Ethereum. And so Ethereum has really been the only thing that has not moved with this entire market. So um, anyway, so that's what we got with. All right, so next is Solana. I really want to cover Ethereum a little more, but I'll cover that more later tonight. And again, with Ethereum, we really need to break 2140 in my opinion. So this is looking good. This is not bullish to me, however. So it's really the frustrating thing across the board is we've had some really good moves the past week or so. We really have, but we are still within this range. So this is how I look at it. I guess this is still Ethereum for now, but we are still within this range. Okay, so um, we have a bullish breaker right here that the area did get retested, so that is good. Overall, this is looking bullish. I like the setup. I like in my experience, this typically will end up with a bullish follow through. So I have a lot of hopium and optimism behind this. That being said, we are still within a range bound here, and we need to get into a trend bound move. And so none of this really, there's no channel, there's nothing here. There is a break of the trend, which is good. And so that's something that I would be looking at. I mean, and I mentioned this kind of earlier. So still, I mean, that looks okay, but at the same time, I would like to see a little more follow through. 2140 would be my zone of interest. All right, so now we're going to go to Solana. All right, going on to Solana. I don't want to cover the weekly because I already covered that. But the daily, I mentioned, we'll zoom to the 4 hour first to get to the daily perspective. I mentioned that we would get the double bottom, which we did, and get the jump above. But I have this trend line here because we haven't broken through this. And I think Solana is the best visual example of what I'm trying to say. We have a 10%, almost 11% move today. Really good. I really like that. Solana is one of my biggest bags. It's my second biggest bag. First is Bitcoin. And so I like this very, very much. The problem is we haven't got outside of this range for this trend break, so it needs to happen. So this is a good example of a very good day, but not necessarily a good month. We're still negative. We're still down in price action from the 11th. So I guess from was it 10 to 14 days ago. So that's something that I want people to keep in mind. Yes, this is a good day, but we also had bad days, and so we are pretty much break even. We need to recover this. We need to trend. Okay, things are not trending bullish. Think we are having bullish days, we are having bearish days, but we are not trending bullish. We're not trending bearish either. So that's why I say that Aroon is going to. I'm using Aroon currently as a trend tool. You can use it as trend, momentum, price action, and you can flip the script. That's one thing I like about it. You could switch between it, and it's good for different traders for different reasons. I've switched to a trend mode because the market is favoring that on the higher time frames, and therefore we we need to break into that trend, and we have not yet. Another thing is that this RSI is trending down so far. I think we actually just got a cross on this, so this could work well. Plus the reclaim of the 50. This probably is going to trend higher if I had to guess. So I do like my $48 price point. I'm not sure if we'll get it or not, but that's something I'm keeping in mind. Um, the we have a bearish wedge here on the daily, and so that's something to keep in mind as well. We have not even crossed bullish on the 4 hour for Solana, so that's something to keep in mind. We probably will if we break this, I bet you. But I'm just keeping that in mind overall. I mean, we have a bearish consolidation on the 1 hour. I'm flipping back and forth because it's kind of hard to navigate for me as an Aroon trader right now. But so far, this is looking good. It is bullish, but the trend so far still tells me that we are not going to trend super bullish right now. And I think we need to establish the difference between a good green day versus all right, it's up 11%, so that means it's going to go to 200 tomorrow. That's probably not going to happen. Okay. We also need to be mindful is that the more bullish the cycle gets, the more bigger swings that we are going to get, and things like that. So just keep that in perspective. So that's Solana. I think we need to break this, and we could break that as early as next 24 hours. And if we do that, then I think that we're good. As far as bigger targets, I think for obvious reasons, I think this right here at 80 is pretty good. I've mentioned that before, but that would be the next pinpoint structure that we look at. I'm going to zoom out here just a second. What am I doing here? So that's your best one right there. Your next one is probably going to be 107, maybe 110 even. So 107 is probably your next one. Your next one at that is going to be 136. And then this is how I do my structures, by the way. And your next one's probably going to be 193, 200, resistance at 200. So that could come very fast. I don't think that we're going to get 200 tomorrow, but I think we could get 200 within a month or two. I think that's very easy. And so that's why I was so strongly emphasizing to buy under $20 because, yes, I am thinking that we'll get $48, but I don't know. And that's the thing. You don't know. I can be wrong. You can be wrong. Everybody can be wrong. Okay. And so it's best just to buy it when it's so cheap and then work on that as you go. So anyway, that's Solana. Let's go ahead. I'm going to do a few more alts and kind of just look at some ones of my interest, and then we'll end the video. All right, so XRP is on my list. I'm going to take less time per chart so I can get you more charts in for this video. But XRP is one that I'm interested in because we are trying to break here. This still needs to break on the 4 hour. We got 3 hours left to go. But I like this one a lot because it's an easy setup. You could play the break of this trend, put your stop under here, target the top right there. Very solid, very simple. I love these kind of setups because they just work, right? They give you a good entry, they give you a good short stop, and a good follow through. So that's pretty simple with that one. And another thing too is chances are it's not going to just stop it here. It might actually even go up to the top of the range. We'll see how that goes. The thing is that I'm going to zoom out for a second because when we get to if things are going to get as bullish as they go, a lot of these, if you can afford to do it, will be great setups to continue to hold. And so that's worth keeping that in mind. Focusing on maybe like a longer spot position perhaps, or if you can't, keep the 4 hour, trade on the 4 hour. And when things get really bullish, you might only be able to trade on the 15-minute chart. Okay, there's times where I was not able to trade any higher than 15-minute charts last cycle. So we'll see what happens this time around. But XRP is a good one, and I like this setup overall. So another one that I like is THETA. And so with THETA here, the reason I like this a little bit is because you have a trend line break like so. And so that is looking pretty good overall. If this can break, again, the same thing applies as it does to Ethereum. You want to play the break of that, target below the range, somewhere roughly around here. For me, I like playing a little conservative, so I might do it here, but also you could play it just here if you want to do something more tight, but that also depends on where the entry lands as well. And then you could just target something as simple as the top of this. I think even though that looks like a scan wick, I still think that that's okay because you got, this was a trade that we played out, but you also got this range coming up. So I think overall that looks good. Just checking something here. it should break that as well. So we'll see. Overall, that one looks good. It's not my favorite overall because there's other coins that look better. And so the trouble that I have with things like this is because I could tell you to go to Solana, go on the 15-minute chart, for example, and you could trade this and you could do a pretty good job trading. The problem is some people won't. Some people will have a terrible time trading the 15-minute hour. I was terrible at it myself. I didn't trade low time frame for probably the first 3 years of my trading career, so to speak. So just keep that in perspective. Like, it may not be something that you're used to. It's not as fun as what it sounds. I'm telling you, I see all these people online that have the P&L charts of 10,000%. They traded 100x on the 1 minute chart, and I'm telling you, they never tell you how many times they get stopped out. They don't tell you how much money you've actually put into it. They may have only put in $5. I'll gladly risk $5 to get a 10,000% P&L to brag to everyone. I don't do that because it's not realistic. Okay, excuse me, it's not realistic. And so the thing is, I try to give you more healthier setups that everybody can utilize. I do go to lower time frames on my premium members, and so that if that's something for you, that's also an advantage. And so anyway, that's Theta. I meant to talk about Theta for that one. So another one actually is going to be AVAX, and so I like AVAX. I'll admit and say I did not get into this as low as I wanted to. I saw this setup. I should have took it. I didn't take it. But one thing that we have here is we have the run up, which is fine. And this is another example of a good bullish day. We had 10, almost 11% now, but we had a deviation, and now this is actually a bearish retest. And so one thing I like about AVAX is if we can break above this zone, then I'm thinking that we could long again. You could probably put your stop at the bottom of the previous of the drop that we just had, and then you can target up upwards to here. I'm pretty sold. I wasn't sold on this a couple months ago for different reasons, but I'm pretty sold on the fact that AVAX could run up to all-time highs again, and I think that would be very good. That'd be a 5.6x from here, and so that would be a good overall setup. I don't think I'm just looking for a very basic trend right now. So to be conservative, this would be your setup right here. About a 5R at about 63%. It's crazy how like 63% is like a conservative trade now. That just shows you the nature of what we're going into. It was one of these things where like 5% was good, 10% was good. Now 50% isn't even considered good nowadays. And so just keep that in mind. But AVAX looks pretty good. Let's take a look at maybe a couple more and then we'll end the video. So another one is going to be render. It already has pumped a little bit. And so one thing I want to mention here is it's getting ready to break the range high of this. If it can break above 3.7, then I think we're well on our way to higher price action. Again, this is another example of we had a bullish pump up here, but that we didn't even clear some of the ranges for some of these. So just keep this in mind. I will not be surprised if we have a red day tomorrow that's very significant. And then we have a small red day on Friday. We'll see how this goes. But again, I want to emphasize, I think this is a very bullish day. I'm not necessarily convinced that we're going to have a bullish trend rally. But with render in particular, I like maybe a range break of here. If it can hold even on the 4 hour, I think that's good. Target somewhere within inside the range like so. And then let's see. Let's go ahead and zoom out to look at our targets first. But I think right here at this little structure is good. And so then if we zoom back in, I guess it's only on the daily. And so there's your structure point. And so that I'm looking for something like this is pretty good. And so typically when you get into trend base, sorry, this is all I'm getting a bigger computer. I'm getting a bigger computer and I'm also getting a monitor. So anyway, when you get this, when you think about trends, you look at these structures like so. When it breaks a structure, you just entry, go on to the next one. That's kind of a Darvis play. It's kind of what I do. So that's something that I like. Render is a good coin. I'm almost absolutely certain we're going to get all-time high and then some with render. So I like that one a lot. So last but certainly not least is TIA, which I think is short for Celestria. I don't know how to pronounce that word necessarily. But one thing I want to mention here is we had the run up with this, and so we had the breaker here. Should have retested. We retested that just now, but we also have a reclaim structure right here, and so I'm very interested in this. This is very solid. Now I don't know the history of this. I feel like this is the beginning of the history, but this is an excellent positioning. You could even target right here, which is probably not going to go below that. If you want to be more aggressive, you could target maybe like 8 to 10% stop. And then the sky is the limit for this one because this is price discovery. But what I do want to mention is you could probably target like so with the trend line right here. And then that would be your first stop like so. Your second one would probably be, again, I'm just using the angles here. I mean, you could do something like that's roughly the same, and so that's one reason why I was looking at that. But then you could also do this one as well, and so I might tilt this just a little bit. But then that's going to be your second range, about about 65% run. But your first one's probably going to be about 40, 42%, 43. So I like that a lot. TIA is a growing coin for me, and I honestly I think I'm just going to set that alert because I have a tendency to forget like after my videos, I tend to just go downstairs and get a drink, things like that, and I immediately forget sometimes. So I got to write my own notes. So that's TIA. So overall, that's the Knowhere market update. I think it. I felt like this video was a little choppy today, but let me know what you think. Let me know if it was good, bad, improving, whatever. Let me know what you think. The Knowhere link updates are in the description. Please like, subscribe if you haven't. I think I'm almost at like 250 subscribers, so that's great. I would love to get to like 1,000. That'd be awesome. Just thank you so much for watching. If you've watched this long, I hope your portfolios are in the green today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting, and I'll see you next time.